Episode 3, Bitcoin Begins, Part 3, Q&A, recorded 22nd of October 2019.
This is Bitcoin Basics Podcast with your host Faris, that's me, and Gordon from Coin Compass. We're Bitcoin advisors and educators supporting business and individual investors to safely buy, manage, and control their private keys, Bitcoins. Visit coincompass.com for more information. This podcast is strictly educational and is not intended to be financial or investment advice. Full disclaimer in the show notes and at the end of this episode.
So Bitcoin is both a technology and a currency. So the blockchain is a new technology. There's so many more things that you can do with a blockchain other than just basically send Bitcoins around. So this is an adoption chart of technologies in the US. So anything from the telephone to electricity to the iPhone to computer games. Right now, less than 10% of the world use Bitcoins. So Bitcoin is here as far as adoption goes. And what you can see is the adoption rate is kind of like a reverse hockey stick. Not much happens and then bang, and then it would just plateau. So most plateau. So you would guess that by the year 2140, when the last Bitcoin has been mined, that's when we'll plateau. Is Bitcoin a bubble? So someone asked me about this before. So this is all the money in the world, which is $86.5 trillion. When I say money, it is not cash. It's not backed by anything. It's derivative money. So this is what led to the housing crisis and the financial crisis was there was no real money going around. It was printed digital money stacked on top of more digital money. So that's how much money there is in the world, $86.5 trillion. Most of that is debt. Physical money, 34 trillion. That is still not real money. When we say physical money, it's cash printed by governments. And those governments can just print money, and they have been. So the 2008 financial crisis, remember, I don't know if you guys were paying attention, but Congress in America had to pass a law. If they didn't pass this law, bailing out the banks, the whole financial system was going to collapse. Do you remember how much money they had to pass? $800 billion. That was the big thing. $800 billion, which would be paid by the taxpayers. It's governments printing money. Since then, they have printed $80 billion every single month in those 10 years. So that's gold market cap, 7.8 trillion. Bitcoin is here, 112 billion. So most people go, I missed the boat on Bitcoin, it's too late. It isn't. This is still the Wild West. It's still very difficult to buy Bitcoin. You can still lose it. A lot of people do not understand it. That's the number one reason people don't invest in Bitcoin. They just don't understand it. So we are still, we go back to that adoption chart. We're just beyond the pioneer stage. It was really hard to get Bitcoin in the past. You had to mine it. The people who made fortunes in Bitcoin basically were very computer savvy. So you had to know, and it was not easy, even for those guys. Now it's a lot easier to buy Bitcoin, but the volatility scares people away. All right, so quick thing, what do we do? So we run group workshops. So in essence, you can know nothing about Bitcoin. Come with your computer, your phone, sit down in a workshop, and by the end of the day, not only do you understand everything you need to know about workshop, but most importantly, how to buy, control, store your Bitcoins, your private keys. Something else that we do is called Bitcoin risk mitigation solutions. So we go to businesses that are starting to accept Bitcoin. We show them how do you control your Bitcoin, how do you hold Bitcoin for your clients. Because you want to avoid one person that has access to Bitcoin runs away with it. So there's things where you can set it up where it's kind of like the bank needs 2 signatures. And we do executive support. So a lot of people just would ring us up and just say, how do I restore my wallet? I've lost my phone. I've lost this. How do I get my Bitcoins back? Stuff like that. All right.
And what's the success rate of getting it back?
It depends. If basically you had it on a computer and you threw it away and you can't find a computer, we can't help you. And that's something we'll tell you within the first few minutes is, yeah, we can't help you. Yeah. No, there's quite a few people where, yep, they have Bitcoins, they can't remember what it's on a hard drive, it's on a computer, they can't find it, they're looking for it.
So even if they remember writing on a piece of paper those numbers and letters.
No, that's fine, that's all it is. If you memorize it, it's fine.
Oh, right.
And this is the beauty of Bitcoin. So if you've traveled recently, you have to fill in the declaration card. Are you carrying?
Yeah.
Yep, you've written those down?
Yeah.
Go. Are you carrying $10,000 worth of cash on you? You can be carrying, $100 million. Just say no. This is one of the reasons Bitcoin absolutely skyrocketed in price in 2017 was because the Chinese were using it to get their money out of China. Yep, so you saw gold. How heavy is gold? How much does it cost to transport gold? Bitcoin, you can have transactions of $100 million and the fees will be less than $10. There you go. Yep, just write those down. Now, we've got a lot more free content on our website. So what I just went through today, there's a free 45-page booklet with links to all those videos and many more, which it goes into a lot more depth of what I explained today. So if you just go to our website, coincompass.com/free, you'll find a lot more material. It just helps you basically understand the world of Bitcoin. And if you want to learn more, there's a booklet called Bitcoin Begins. But any questions about anything?
So the only way people make money in Bitcoin at the moment is basically just by basically the value of the Bitcoin going up, isn't it? It's just the capital gain of it really going up at the moment. Yeah.
So historically, Bitcoin will go up 2,500 to 3,000%, and then drop 90%. And that is very volatile, but if you think of Amazon, which is one of the world's largest business, Amazon has had a 90% correction at stock price 3 times.
Yeah, remember that.
So this is why people say, what do I do with my Bitcoin? We say buy and hold. It's a long-term investment.
So you mentioned all these different websites to buy it from. Is it like buying a currency where it's maybe cheaper in Russia than China, or is it not really?
So it used to be. So for example, what happened was the day Donald Trump was elected, Prime Minister Modi of India banned the 2 largest banknotes in circulation. So reason being is because no one pays taxes in India. It's a very cash-based society. So he did it on that day to get away with it. So what happened that day is Bitcoin in India went up 40% in that one day. How do we hide our money? Bitcoin. And this is in India, it's a very predominant gold-based society.
Is it hiding your money? Can you get capital gains tax if it goes up?
So the way capital gains tax works is if you sell it. So what a lot of Bitcoin people do is they'll buy their Bitcoins, they'll figure out what country can I go to where there's not going to be capital gains tax, go to that country, and then sell their Bitcoin in that country once they're resident there. Some countries are cottoning on. I forget which one it is, but some island basically is promoting itself as a Bitcoin haven. Come here, sell your Bitcoins here, live here, we won't tax you.
It's either that or spend it.
Yeah. And this is a thing where governments, like Australia did have double taxation on Bitcoin, capital gains and currency tax, I think. They've recently changed that. Japan is very, very pro-Bitcoin. Their debt to GDP is 250%. They've been very good at printing a lot of money and devaluing their currency. So yeah, it's one, and I think Chad, governments in Africa, is actually buying Bitcoin as an investment for their government. So a central government is now buying Bitcoin to hold in their fund.
If there's a bit of instability in the world, the markets drop and gold goes up. Which way does Bitcoin go?
So it's too soon. Bitcoin, so even though the presentation describes Bitcoin as a currency, and that's what it was designed to be, it won't be used as a currency in our lifetime. It's going to be a store of value. It's going to be treated like gold. Because there's an anniversary in Bitcoin Day called the Pizza Day, where the first recorded transaction for a product, so not between 2 people, but to buy something, was 2 pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoins, which will be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So that's why in early days, demonstrations like I'm doing now, people would go around and would send 100 Bitcoin, which was just a few dollars. They don't do that anymore. So now they hold on to their Bitcoin. So even though it's designed to be a currency, in our lifetime, it won't be used as one. It's going to be used as a store of value, mostly. What you do now to mine Bitcoin and make money out of it is you join what's called a pool. And that's what we're looking at before. So your one computer is not going to compete on its own against these mining farms. And when I say mining farms, you're talking like 1,000 computers. So here you see pool in, F2 pool. What those are is you will put your computer with a whole bunch of other people. You're pooling your computer with a whole bunch of others. And then together you'll mine those Bitcoins and then it's shared along that pool. So it's a group.
It was developed when? Sorry?
It was released in 2008.
Yeah.
When it was released, so the Genesis block, the first block that was released, had a message. And that message basically had the Guardian newspaper and was talking about the Bank of England bailing out. I think it was RBS at the time, or I can't remember. I have it. Yeah, so it basically is kind of political statement to say, you guys are printing money. This is the real thing. So understanding, and the free book that you can go to our website goes into a lot more detail about this. Why, when Bitcoin was created during the GFC is really important to understand.
Is there like a annual percentage that goes up, or is it just?
Oh yeah. So it doesn't. It goes up and down. So yeah, again, 2,500 to 3,000% will go up, and then crash 85 to 95%. Historically, it does that, and that's the thing. People tend to buy at the top and then panic sell at the bottom.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's the time to buy it.
Yep.
When everyone's selling.
Yeah. Well, the time to buy Bitcoin, when people say, when should I buy Bitcoin? Yesterday. But you just buy and you hold. So if you believe this thing could potentially be a store of value compared to gold, then you are mathematically just looking at a price of $400,000. Who cares if you bought it today at 12 grand or tomorrow at 8, when that is your potential upside? So that's the way we look at it, is don't focus too much on getting in, just get in. So what price you get it, but yeah, just get in. But with our newsletter, we do give you a monthly big picture. Like, we don't give trading advice, but we do give a big month picture of here's what's happening with the price of Bitcoin, as well as new developments. Here's new developments happening, news in Bitcoin.
So is that like you were talking earlier about deeds of properties and that being passed over? Is that sort of things that people are trying to develop for the blockchain?
Yeah, so real estate is the next industry that will really adopt, or the legal profession is the one that's really going to adopt blockchain. It's going to come in, it really is the new internet. So the internet, a lot of stuff today, even though it's online, there's paper behind it. So with stock, there's still a stock certificate. It's like you can buy shares online, but there's still a paper certificate issued somewhere. So even though we're online, there's still a lot of paper involved. So with this, it truly is a first digital decentralized thing. So the younger generations, millennials, have no problem with Bitcoin. I'm Gen X, baby boomers have a real issue because I can't touch it. Who is the largest provider of films? Who's the largest business when it comes to watching movies and TV? Netflix. They don't own any shops. They don't own any DVD stores. Who is the largest hotel provider? Airbnb. They do not own any physical real estate. Who is the largest taxi provider? They don't own any of their cars. So we are moving into a digital world. When was the last time you bought a CD? When was the last time you had a picture printed? Our generation is used to holding stuff. That's why we like buying real estate. I can see it, I can feel it. When was the last time you went to your bank and said, I actually want to see my $30,000 that I have in the vault? If you buy shares in Rio, you say, I insist on visiting the plant. We've just grown accustomed to an investment is something you have to hold, you have to see, you have to touch. Yeah.
How do you know like 5 or 7 million not being lost?
So the reason we know that it's a presumption, and the presumption being is that nothing's happened in that wallet address. So someone would have, so if I sent, say 8 years ago, I put Bitcoin on there, no Bitcoin has come out, then you can presume, okay, either they haven't used that or it's been lost. And so if it's been inactive, there's a big percentage that it's been lost. Some people actually report having lost it. So there's debates out there where, for example, someone recently said, well, how about we know that these addresses, they're dead addresses, the Bitcoins have been lost, how about we regenerate them? Because even though we said it would be 21 million Bitcoins, but there's only going to be 15 million, how about we regenerate those extra ones we've lost? And the consensus was no.
So when people lose Bitcoin, so you mentioned there's somewhere they can report that to.
Yeah, well, not yet.
Because you can't get it back again.
You can't get it back.
No.
Like, it depends if you don't back it up. So what Phil did then is he wrote down a series of 12 words. So if he loses that phone, he can get a new phone. He can download that same app, and it'll ask him, is this a new wallet or are you regenerating a wallet? And he'll go regenerate. He puts in those 12 words. Those Bitcoins are back up on that phone. And what it's done is it's voided them on that wallet and moved them to his new wallet.
But he's got to have those 12 words.
Yep, it's called a backup phrase. Yeah. Anything else? No, thank you. I hope you got what you expected out of that.
5 out of 6.
5 out of 6 confirmations. I thought you were scoring my night. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. 5 out of 6 confirmations. Good. Cool.
Thanks for watching or listening. Please visit coincompass.com/free to register to our socials and discover other free content. Subscribing, liking, and following helps this content remain ad-free. Until next time.
Disclaimer. Any content provided by Coin Compass or the Bitcoin Basics podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not investment, legal, tax, or any other professional advice. A qualified professional should be consulted before making any financial decisions. Coin Compass or the Bitcoin Basics podcast will at times recommend certain products, services, and technologies, but these are opinions based upon our own or podcast guests' experience and not endorsements. We take no liability for out-of-date or inaccurate information, software bugs, manufacturing errors, technology misuse, or issues involving third parties. Visit coincompass.com for more information and please contact us.